Hey everyone, I'm David Methvin, a student at Boise State University. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about crisis communication and specifically a crisis communication case study that I did about an Air Force four-star general, General Arthur Light, and a sexual misconduct allegation that he had. Little overview, go through a little introduction, give you some background of the crisis. We'll talk to you a little bit about what crisis communication theory is, some types of crisis communication methods that were used during this particular crisis, what the results of the crisis communication were, and then I'll go into how I can apply some of the lessons that I learned into my own life. A little bit of background. The situation is a 2016 claim that was made about a top-ranking Air Force member, again, General Arthur Light. The accusation was that he had sexually assaulted a subordinate. Not only did he sexually assault this subordinate once, but 3 times over a period of 2 years. Now, as the investigation progressed, they did realize that she actually stated that she never did felt pressured. He never stated any repercussions for her career, anything like that, if she did not proceed with these sexual acts. But she did feel as if she was kind of obligated to perform the acts because of his position over her and the fact that he was not only his rank, but the position in the Air Force. And then, as it all progressed, the general apologized, and then he talked about how he thought it was a consensual affair, which is kind of ironic because he was having an affair, but still, he was under the impression that this female was into him, is the words that he used. So, crisis communication theory is the belief that image restoration discourse is a viable approach for use in developing and understanding messages that respond to corporate image crisis. So what that basically means is that crisis communication theory is the belief that what we do and say after a crisis is important, and not only is it important, but we can use it to our advantage to make sure that our image isn't damaged any more than necessary throughout the crisis. The 2 major crisis communication methods that were used during this event are mortification and corrective action. Mortification, it's not exactly what it sounds like, but it's simply an apology. In this case, General Light apologized to the female, and he apologized to the Air Force. But again, he stated to the female he was sorry for any pain that he had caused her, but he thought that the affair was consensual. And then the other one is corrective action. Corrective action is exactly what it sounds like. And in this particular case, the Secretary of the Air Force took corrective action against General Light. Now, something that wasn't pointed out earlier is the fact that when this investigation came out, or when the claim came out, General Light was already retired. So Secretary James decided that she was going to look back into General Light's career and figure out when he was last serving honorably. When they did that, they determined that he had last served honorably when he was a 2-star general, not a 4-star. So they took action against him, demoted him 2 stars, effectively docking his pay $60,000 a year. The results of the communication were actually a little bit scattered on both sides. It was difficult to find any true results, if you will, but I was able to find a handful of different social media posts from that time. And they're really kind of split between thinking that there was too much punishment and thinking that there wasn't enough punishment. The people that were thinking there was too much punishment were coming from it from a standpoint that she said that she didn't feel forced. She said that she didn't feel like he was pressuring her. So it was kind of an abuse of power, but they thought that he wasn't intentionally doing it, and it was a little bit too much punishment. And then the other side, they didn't think it was enough because, well, as you can imagine, abuses of power, even unintentionally, don't sit well with society. But what I will say is that ultimately, I think that the Air Force, its members, and the world at large know how the Air Force felt about the situation and how it believed that these situations should be handled. When it came to figuring out how to apply this to my own life, I came up with what I'm considering the 3 B's: behave, be honest, and be open. With behave, if we behave, we're not going to have to worry about something coming up, in this case, in our retirement age, and biting us in the butt, if you will. As long as we're behaving morally and ethically, we should be good to go throughout not only our current daily activities, but we shouldn't have anything come up, creep up, and hurt us in the long run either. We need to be honest. And this comes in the case of this study from both the accuser and the accused. Being honest was really important. So the accuser in this particular case, she was completely honest. She said she didn't feel forced. But the situation was bad enough to where it still warranted some type of corrective action, and she was able to get it just being honest. General Light, he was honest as well. He apologized, said he never meant to hurt her, and that he thought it was consensual. But that leads to the last one, be open. And what I mean by be open is we need to be open to the fact that our consequences may not be what we hope them to be. When we apologize, we may not get forgiven, or we may not get off without a punishment, but we still need to be open to whatever comes to us as a direct result of our actions. In conclusion, I taught you guys about crisis communication theory, and I went into the two methods that were used during this particular crisis. I taught you about what I felt like the results were of this particular crisis communication and the methods that were used. And then I talked about how I can apply them in my own life. So there are my references. Again, I'm David Methvin, student at Boise State University. Hope you guys are able to learn something, and it's been a pleasure.